Well, good evening everybody, and welcome to this special cabinet meeting this evening at the new time of 5:30. Can I ask first of all for any declarations of interest? None? Thank you. And confirmation of the minutes of the cabinet meeting held on the 17th of February. Are we all happy with those? Okay, all in favour? Thank you. Which I will then sign. Thank you. And are there any urgent items?
There's no urgent items this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And the sole item on this evening's agenda is item 4, which is the accommodation project. And good evening, Mr. Walker.
Good evening, Chairman, members. The report before you sets out and gives an update on the accommodation project and goes on to report the findings of the accommodation working group that met recently and has reviewed and is proposing a review of the current policy on the accommodation project. The report also then goes on to say and propose how we could continue the work in the coming months by doing work on the windows. I'll start, Chairman, by just giving an update on the two asset sales. Many of you will be aware of this already. The sale of Derby Road is now imminent, and planning permission should be granted following the execution of the Section 106 in the next day or so. And following that, there will be the completion of the transaction and the receipt of the income and the transfer of the site to the developer. The sale of the public offices has generated some interest, but the previous interest that we had at the higher level, as you'll be aware, has fallen away, and we are now looking for any further interest that we can garner to then report back to the accommodation working group in a few weeks' time. And hopefully then we'll have some offers on the table. Whether they are what the council aspires for the site, we'll have to have a discussion and see and take that forward. Just moving on from that then, Chairman, the accommodation working group, as you're aware, met last month and reviewed the options for the future accommodation project. And in section 6 of the report, it looked at 3 possible options for how we could continue with refurbishment works to the town hall. Option 1 was use the income from Derby Road and fund further works to the town hall and continue to market the public offices and then use that income when that's available. Option 2 was continue to market the public offices, hold the income back from the sale of Derby Road and use it together when the public offices is sold to refurbish the town hall. And number 3 was use reserves or borrow to undertake the whole refurbishment works and pay that back when the income is achieved. After some debate and discussion, the accommodation working group proposed option 1. The group went on to look at the next phases of work in the town hall, and that is identified in section 7 and 10 of the report. And there is obviously a priority list there, particularly in section 10. The first works are the re-roofing works. The next logical works would be structural repairs to the front wall and the bay roofs. After that will be window replacement and so on. As a result of that, the accommodation working group agreed with the option 1 and decided to proceed with phases 2 and 3 listed in section 10. Officers have now gone away and looked as to how that could be achieved, and especially given that the accommodation working group also made a recommendation to use the previously allocated decanting monies which had been set aside for use on the project, because the proposal now was not to decant staff, and therefore that could also be used on the project. Officers were mindful of the fact that the existing contract is coming to an end now with the roofing works, and in particular with regard to the retention of the scaffolding and the economies that could be achieved there, has negotiated a price with the existing contractor to do the structural repairs to the front bays and to the windows, and has come up with a proposal which is outlined in section 13 of the report. The report then goes on to outline how the procurement rules relate to that, and we believe that there are circumstances here that warrant those existing rules to be waived to allow the existing contractor to continue his work at that negotiated price that would achieve efficiencies for the council. The report then outlines in a bit more detail what those works will involve, and that's it, Chairman, I believe. So I'll try and answer any questions if you've got them.
Any questions?
Thank you, Chairman. I think it's a good idea to keep the scaffolding. I think complimenting the officers for that, it would be very cost saving.
The window design is a UPVC sliding sash, and it's been agreed by the when the council put a planning application in for the works to the town hall. A reserved matter was the design of the windows, and in discussions with the planners and in particular with Paul Drinnan, the urban design officer, we've selected a design which is appropriate, which we feel is appropriate. That's also been assessed by Andrew Dixon's team from an energy efficiency side of things. So we believe we've got the best balance of design and cost and energy efficiency. Yes.
See, where I'm coming.
I'm aware of that, and also I believe that these windows have been selected to match in with the brickwork of the town hall, and I think Andrew is, if I am correct, I think that is my understanding, Andrew.
The building originally has got a stone band course on each level, and the windows originally lined through with the stone band coursing. At the moment they don't line in with the stone band coursing, so we're putting the proportions of the windows back to what they were originally. So there's a larger sash on the bottom than on the top. It'll also improve the sight lines from inside the building for the sea views.
What colour are they?
The windows are in white, as they were originally.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Councillor Little.
On number 18, it says proposed the scheme will be financed. Can you just take me through that paragraph of who the 184 set aside, please?
Yes, Chairman, when the current approach was agreed about 2 years ago, there was a sum of money set aside to decant staff and all the operations of the town hall to another site for about 12 months. And the 184,000 was the moving costs and the rental costs of a facility for about 12 months for this council. It was an cost estimate at that time, and that was set aside in a budget. As a result of the change of approach by the accommodation working group, the approach now is to do the works as and when the funding comes in, but with retaining occupation of the building. Obviously there will be disruptions as the windows are done in different rooms, and whilst they're done in this room, for example, there'll not be any meetings for that period of time, and we'll have to try and schedule out the best. But that was previously money set aside for decanting that we now no longer need.
Councillor Fylde.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I thank Paul for the background information that he's given to us on this item. Really just two salient points. Because of the delay in the selling the council assets, Derby Road and the public offices, then obviously the approach of the accommodation working parties had to change. The three options have been described, which are on page 5. Option 1, which I will read because it's very pertinent: use income from sale of Derby Road to fund further works to the town hall, phase 2, and continue to market the public offices, because I think this decision underlines the principle that funds will only be spent when they are received, because there had been previous comments in terms of borrowing money or whatever to accelerate the process. And following on from Councillor Shell's, Councillor Little's question about the £184,000, because the project now is one of phasing, the £184,000, which was in the revenue budget for this year, is no longer required. There will be no decanting. The £184,000 is now available, and it was agreed by the accommodation working party that it be spent on the works that's described in terms of replacing the windows and other structural aspects. So with that in mind, Mr. Chairman, I move the recommendations as outlined in the report. Simply.
Thank you. And also, I'm delighted to second the report this evening, and I'm particularly pleased that the matters are rolling on, and eventually we'll get there in the end. I've also asked our finance officers and Paul Walker's team to come with some definite costings with regards to the remaining phases, so we know of the challenge that this council is needs to meet in order to reach our objective, and the stages that are required, which are outlined in the paper this evening. So thank you to the officers for the diligence with regards to the scaffolding, which will save us some money. And there is in not decanting, it's good that we can save £184,000, and that has gone to some considerable way to then completing stages 2 and 3. So I again thank you, Mr. Walker, for all and your team for all their diligent work. So I'm happy to second that. In favour? Thank you very much indeed. And that concludes this evening's work. Thank you very much indeed for attendance.